Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, Tuesdays with Paula. And here we are on this amazing, beautiful day. I saw that it's going to be 70 degrees today. It's a lot to appreciate in life when it feels like that. Okay, we're going to begin today with a gift for you. This is a technique that I teach all of my clients. It's the first thing that I teach because it's probably, of all the things we do, the single most important one. Right. Today our topic will be, are you a creator or a master? And I'd like you to write in and let me know, what do you think? What do you think the difference is between creating and mastering? And are there areas in your life where you have been able to create successfully the way you want to? And are there places where you really feel that you've mastered? So feel free to share it and I'll take a look and see what you write. And the gift, back to the beginning, the gift is called the quick release. I'm going to nag on this one probably every time we talk to some degree. The quick release is a very easy way, and very quick, obviously, as the name says, to bring your left brain and right brain into balance. And the way you will know if you need to do this is to ask yourself a simple question. Where's my stress level? Do I have any stress? Am I anxious? Worried about anything? Am I feeling feelings that bring my vibrational state to a place that just doesn't feel very good? So that means most of us need and can really benefit from this technique. And it is so simple. So we begin with your head straight. And the idea is that there is a bridge right there between the two hemispheres. And when we do this technique, when we move our eyes all the way to the left and all the way to the right, what's happening is that bridge is kind of like a drawbridge. It kind of lowers, and the synapses start to fire back and forth. And in this extremely left brain world that we live in, we have become, talk about mastery, we have become masters of mental masturbation. We spend more time in that left brain trying to figure things out, analyze it, understand why, know how, try to get the answer, and it's raising the anxiety level tremendously. And I see that in my clientele. The level of anxiety has gone so much higher in just the last 5 years. And I think a big part of that is that our left brain has reached the place where it's so dominant. And the right brain has atrophied to a bit. Now, why is this important? Most of us know, but we'll talk about it anyway. In terms of, according to Paula, I have my own theory about it. The left brain, as most of us know, is associated to language and logic. And I also feel that it's more connected. It's a wonderful thing. Obviously, we need it, but all things in balance. So the left brain is more attached to the ego. It's the one that wants to be right and figure it out. And the right brain, as we've been told, is associated with creativity. It releases our creative side. It allows us to see other options. It's more connected to the heart. So when I teach my clients about this technique, I say that when you feel that when you're struggling, you're in your ego, you're trying to figure things out, and your mind chatter is mastering you, you know that it's time for you to stop and honor your right brain. The right brain is connected to the spirit. So for me, left brain is right. We only have two states of being. We're either in love or fear, as Marianne Williamson, as the Course in Miracles has taught us. We're in love or fear, or we're in ego or spirit. So the right brain is the road to the spirit. The left brain is the road to fear and some of the human creation that we're all working so diligently to clear out. So the technique, quite simple. All right. We move our eyes side to side. Good. Your eyes moving all the way to one side and all the way to the other. Left side, left and right, as far as you can. And it looks like this. I know it's kind of weird looking, but it works. All the way to the left and to the right. One side and the other. Left side, left and right. Good. And you just keep doing this until your eyes start to feel tired or you feel like you want to blink. And then you squeeze them tight, because what's happening is energy is condensing, is coming up around the eyes as you're moving them. And you want to condense that energy and push it out. So 3 squeezes, tight, open, tight, open, tight, open. And then 3 big breaths. In through your nose, And when you open your mouth, really open and sigh. Let it go. A lot of people have noticed they don't want to breathe. They don't want to let it out. Or they're embarrassed to have that kind of release around someone. It's just an expulsion of air. But in that air, you're sending out a lot of energy that your body doesn't want anymore. And that kind of breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth with that big sigh will help the parasympathetic system come more into balance, right? That's our fight or flight. So just the breathing part alone can be quite helpful when you're in that fight or flight place, when you're feeling anxiety coming up. But when you put all three of these pieces together, it's a very powerful, quick, simple way to bring yourself more into balance. It's going to de-escalate. You're going to just feel more clear. And the body knows how to do all this, right? We're not talking about any fancy technology. The body knows what it's doing. Just help it along. Okay, so let's do it together. And I'm going to use a little eye directing device here. This is my selenite. Okay, so moving your eyes all the way to the left and to the right. Just left side, left and right. Good, good. And we're doing this again because you will notice a difference in how you feel. Left side, left and right. Keep them moving side to side, left and right. Just getting that left brain and right brain to communicate. That right brain holds the big picture, and the left brain has the details that's needed. The left brain asks those questions, and the right brain answers them. If we'll be quiet long enough to let it. Left side, left and right. Okay, and now we're going to stop and squeeze tight, open, squeeze tight, open, squeeze tight, open, and 3 nice big breaths in through your nose. And just let it go. One more time. One more breath. Let your shoulders drop and your face relax. And just take a moment and notice. It may be very subtle at first, but just notice, check in, see how your system feels like it's shifted a bit. Maybe it's slowed down a little. Maybe you feel a little more clear and able to focus. Just notice. And you can use this technique all the time and build it into your normal schedule, right? It's not something, another thing I have to do. I've mentioned this one before, and I will mention it periodically because it's so easy and important. So when you're sitting at a red light, just start to train yourself. Okay, side to side. And if all you can get is the side to side piece, that's great. Just in the bathroom, when you're sitting in the bathroom, just do it. It takes about 30 seconds. If you're watching TV, take a minute and do it. Before you lay down to go to sleep, it will help quiet the brain. And I've got other techniques, other quick things that I'll share with you in the weeks to come about helping sleep and sleep patterns. Okay, so that's the quick release. Use it when you feel triggered. Use it when you don't feel triggered. Use it when you want to focus, if you're about to study or get to work on something. Just use it because it's a training for the brain. It's as if we've gone to the gym for years and lifted weights only with our left arm. And the right one is very weak and not serving us well. So if you do this, it will exercise that right brain. And really, why is it so important? Because when things come at us, right, now here's where we're going to start getting into the conversation about the difference between creator and master. When things come at us, when externals happen, situations happen, relationships, someone even says something that triggers us. When the left brain is so dominant, we automatically will trigger into the old pattern of response. Or we automatically go into panic, or, oh my God, what's going to happen? How am I going to figure this out? And we go into fear. The more you do the quick release and allow that right brain to start coming in and having some say in how you respond to things, the less likely you are to trigger so quickly. When things come at you, instead of grabbing it just from that left brain and going into fear, you'll be able to start grabbing it from both sides of the brain, both hemispheres, and see it in a much more balanced way. And what will happen is more options will become available. The right brain is the one that allows us to see more possibilities. Last week, Megan Silito was with us, and we talked about that field of unlimited possibilities where magic happens. Getting the right brain active and alive and functioning and more in balance with the other side is a pathway, access to the unlimited possibilities. And so that's where we come into our conversation about creating. So what are you a creator of? The answer really is everything. We create everything that we experience. And when we talk in this world of personal development and spiritual growth, when we talk about being a powerful creator, we usually think about all the wonderful, great things that we're bringing about, right? Manifestors. But the fact is that we are creating, waking, and sleeping. With every thought, every word, every deed, we are generating a vibration, a frequency that affects everything else, that affects what we're experiencing. So when we're creating strictly from that left brain, we get things done, and things are very orderly and very organized. However, it's almost like a pendulum. If you imagine how a pendulum goes, the balance is in the center. But the further it goes over to one side, right, the more momentum and strength it picks up. So if we're creating strictly or mostly from that left brain, then we go beyond that feeling of being organized and detailed and having that level of genius into fear and anxiety. We lose the ability to see the other possible things that we can create. And when we start to come into that right brain, we start creating more deliberately. Abraham Hicks talks to us about creating by default or deliberate creation. Creating by default is often a sign that we are stuck way over in that left side. And all we can do is have that mind chatter and be controlled, mastered by our own thoughts and our own creations. Deliberate creation is when we do start to bring ourselves to a place of connection and alignment, of balance. We heard the word balance kicked around a lot, and it means left, right brain, left brain to a large degree, right? It means a lot, but that left brain, right brain, it also allows the male and female energy to come into balance. It allows us to come more into balance with our whole environment. We begin to see, I began today talking about what an amazing, beautiful day it is. When we're in our right brain, we can connect and align more with the beauty of nature, because we begin to vibrate at a rate that is more open to the field that's around us. It's more open to that place where all things are possible. And in nature, all things are possible. We see so much, so many things that we look at and say, how could that possibly have been engineered? So when we look at ourselves and question, am I a creator or a master? Again, the answer is probably both. There's some areas where you have created wonderful things and terrible things. And it really benefits us to own both and to realize that I am here as a presence of light. I'm here as a presence of life force. And life force can create whatever it puts its attention on. And good or bad is simply our own judgment. It's how it makes us feel. If we've created something that doesn't feel good, we consider it a bad creation. We create something that gives us pleasure and makes us feel good, it's a good creation. That's pretty much how we judge it. But it's all creation. And to move into the place of becoming masters, meaning, in my interpretation of what mastery is like, or what it would be like, when or if I ever get there in any area of my life, free. It's a sense of freedom. It's freedom from the fear that comes from all that left brain chatter. It's free of seeing anything other than the perfection. When we create, we're usually in the mode of problem or solution. It's either a problem or a solution. Right? That's what causes creation and manifestation. I have this problem or I have this lack and I need to fill it, and there's the solution for it. Mastery, on the other hand, doesn't see the problem. Mastery is in a state of being that really sees and functions from the place of only seeing the possibilities, of being available to the possibilities of the higher vibratory experiences. So we know we've mastered something when it's really doesn't trigger us anymore, when it doesn't show up as a problem, and often we don't even realize it's happened. Right? Think about the things now that a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago would have upset you, or would have been an issue for you somehow, would have thrown you off balance, out of alignment. And it doesn't anymore. You just do it automatically and normally as part of who you are. It's one of those things that you've mastered. Because now it's easy. It's like, of course, that's how. Of course money comes to me easily all the time. Of course I have a profession that I love. Of course my relationship is great. Of course I'm taking care of my body. Of course I'm sleeping well now. If you were someone that had sleeping issues and you mastered, right? You took a look at, you started with the creator. Okay, how do I create sleeping better? And then you mastered it, and now you're sleeping better, and you don't think about it. You go to bed and go to sleep. There are a number of different ways that we have come to a level of mastery without even realizing it. And why is that important? Because first of all, I don't think we all give ourselves enough credit. We're constantly looking for what can I do better? How can I be better? I'm not enough. I need to be more. And there are so many places in our lives where we truly have arrived. And we haven't allowed ourselves to stop and celebrate that. So I'd like you to just take a moment with me and celebrate how far you've come on your journey. Celebrate the masters that you are becoming. Because if you're taking the time to listen and be with me, you're on that road to mastery. The reason I thought about having this talk with you today is because I've been putting attention on my book. I'm creating an ebook from it, and it's called A Call to Mastery. And I just thought I would share a little bit about the idea that it's a call to mastery, and the subtitle is Living the Art of Ascension. So ascension is the raising process. And as we do our work, and we put our attention more and more on raising the vibratory action of our thoughts, our feelings, our words, we begin ascending. Because we're raising the vibration. And when we raise the vibration for ourselves, it goes out into the universe, into the world, and it raises it for everyone else. And in the process of doing that, we begin to master some of those things that have challenged us. A lot of clients will come in, and sometimes I see how they struggle with their feelings and their emotions. And it reminds me of, when we're training a dog or a puppy, if we're the alpha person and we're the dominant one, that puppy knows it. It knows that we're the master, and we're teaching it obedience. And when that relationship happens, it's quite harmonious. However, sometimes it's the other way around. Some of us get dogs or puppies that we have no idea how to train, and the puppy runs wild, and the dog is always out of control and controls our schedule, controls everything. And so the dog becomes the master. It's a lot like that with our feeling world, our feeling body. So we've got 4 levels of energy that we work from. Right? The first one is the physical. The second layer, a few feet out, quantum physics tells us this, and we work with this in Rapid Eye all the time. We step out a couple of feet, and then we have our feeling world, our emotional body. We step out just a little further, and there's the mental field, where our thoughts are functioning. And then we step out, and there's the spiritual body. And when all 4 levels of our being and our energy are working together harmoniously, then we're in alignment, and the ability to move into that state of mastery where things are just easy, and we move with grace and ease, with a deliberate consciousness, begins to happen much, much more spontaneously. And so when we master our feelings and our emotions, and I don't mean to depress them or repress them in any way, that's not what mastery is about. It's about knowing that I have the power of light. I, as a divine being, full of the power and capacity to align with all the possibilities, when I really get that in an internalized place, then we begin to master those feelings and emotions. We begin to be able to witness them and say, oh, I get it. I'm just responding to an external. In this moment, I'm actually thought that appearance was real. Appearances are not always what they appear to be. Right? It's an external expression of what you created before. This is old news. I have the choice now, as an aligned, balanced being, to react in a different way, to feel differently. I can look at this thing and say, nope, you had power over me once, but you really don't anymore. Acknowledge the feeling, and then take a deep breath. Do a side to side, and say, I get to choose. In this moment, I do have the power to choose. And step by step, you begin to gain mastery over your own sense of self, so that you are not controlled and mastered by the fears and by the emotions and by the triggers and the externals that are now bringing you into a place of not feeling so great, because it really is about feeling good. And this difference between mastery and creation has a lot to do with the messages, the implants, the imprints that we have in there, the little secret agents running around inside of us that we don't know are there. Right? We think that we're acting like adults and grown-ups. However, when we get triggered, usually an inner child wakes right up and comes into control. And there we are at the mercy, being mastered by our little 5-year-old self. So when we do things like rapid eye, when we do techniques like Megan was talking about last week that help us to remove the implants, remove those parts of ourselves that haven't been healed, not remove those parts, but heal the parts of ourselves that still are taking control and mastering us. When we do the techniques and we do the work, then we come to a place where we begin to master. Once again, mastery is a state of being. It's not something we do. And we come to the state of being simply by first knowing and reminding ourselves that we really are masters. We are master creators. Look at all that we've created, whether we consider it good or bad. There's a process in Rapid Eye called the Creation Walk. And it begins with taking a look at your life, the situation. We call it the environment. What is it that you're living that you just can't manage to get out of and change? And we go step by step at really taking a look at how you did that, how it came about for you, the skills that you used to create it, the behaviors that held the skills in place, the payoff. What is it what's the advantage to staying sick or staying small? The identity, who it makes you, your comfort zone, your relationship with the divine. All those places, all those steps that we are unconscious of that are part of the process of bringing us to the place we are, to creating the creation we're living in. And then we turn around, and when we look and see, wow, look at what I did, it can be very shocking when we look at the steps that brought us to where we are. And then we take the choice and say, you know what? I'm going to recreate this now. If I created that junk, I can recreate it. And we go back through the steps. And we make new ways of being all along the way. And these are the kinds of things that bring us more into a state of being than a state of doing. Because it heightens an awareness within us that, oh, it can be different. I have capacity to live differently. I have the capacity to expand my sense of self and my place in the world. We're usually moving from contraction to expansion, right? We're in one state or the other. We're either contracting into our smallness, which often comes from that left brain, or we're expanding out into the bigness, the big picture, which is the right brain. So one of the ways to help move from creator, which we all are by nature, to master, which is the place that we bring ourselves to when we recognize the power of our divinity, can begin with something as simple as moving your eyes side to side, left, right, left, and right. Squeeze tight 3 times and 3 big breaths. Do it a lot. Do it 5, 10, 20 times a day. And start to notice, it's quite cumulative. Start to notice how much more you feel like you are the master of your experience. And when you start noticing it, then allow yourself to make statements like, I am master of my life. I am the master of myself. I am the master of my experience here. Much of my work is couched in my relationship with the ascended masters. There are a lot of people who roll their eyes and say, oh, here we go, angels and ascended masters, and she's talking about all those invisible imaginary friends. Well, let me just make a suggestion of a perception that may help even those of you that don't poo-poo that idea. It may help you become closer to the understanding of how vital and important it is for us to honor and recognize and begin to communicate with the unseen world. Because it's unseen doesn't mean that it's not real. If you look at an airplane and the propellers are turning, right? An airplane is sitting still and you see that propeller, and then the engine goes on and it starts turning. It turns at such a fast, high rate that we don't see it anymore. Does it mean it doesn't exist? It just means that our eyes, our brain, our vibrational state as a human, 3D human being, isn't able to see the propeller because it's moving so fast. Well, these beings that have assisted me my entire life simply move at a high, faster vibrational rate than my eye is able to see. Now, there are some people that are blessed with the ability to do that, and that's a wonderful thing. For them, they get to see them with their eyes. Some of us get to see them with their eyes closed. Some of us just feel them. But we only get to have that relationship if we begin to acknowledge their presence and start to create a friendship with them. I mentioned that in the book, too. We talk about how to start to relate and get closer to that unseen world, to those beings that have become masters. And it's about attention. It's always attention. Whatever you put your attention on, that's what you become. So you begin putting your attention on the masters, even reading about them. There are a number of books about the masters that have walked the earth. Putting your attention on the masters brings you more into your own state of mastery. And then creation really does become even more fun. Right? The master tends to create much more fun stuff. Feels better, enjoys life, sees the beauty in everything, has ease, and knows that all things are possible. All right. Before we end, I'd like to just take a moment and invite those of you who do or do not know her. There's a Rapid Eye leader. She's actually the founder, Renee Johnson. It's Renee's daughter, Linnell Beckstrom, is ill at the moment, and she's in the hospital in Salem. And I would just invite all of us, whether you're watching this live or you watch it later, to just take a moment and close your eyes and claim our power as masters in this world, to see a point of light. It's in Salem, Oregon. This point of light we now know as Linnell. And we call forth all of the healing light available to feed and expand this point of light that we see sitting in Salem, who we love and call the now. Light expand, light expand, light expand, expand, expand. Healing light expand, healing light expand, healing light expand, expand, expand. Healing light expand, healing light expand, healing light expand, expand, expand. In, through, and around the nail backstrom. We call forth her highest and greatest good. And we bless her. Okay. There is great power in sending light together. All right. I wish you all a miraculous week. I hope next week that I'll get little messages here telling me I did the eye work, I did the quick release this week, and telling me what happened. Or you can send it on Facebook anytime. I'd love to hear. Start using that quick release and see what happens. And ask yourself as you move through this week, am I master or am I creator? When I look at you, I see you as master. Because I see only your divinity. I see only the light that you truly are. Thank you so much. I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Thank you for your attention and time. Bye-bye.